Welcome to the video, guys. Just wrapped up another run, and it got me thinking about the mistakes that I've made as a beginner runner, both in the past and even still some that I'm working through. So I decided today I would share my 5 tips for beginner runners, specifically those who are just starting out and may not really have an idea of what they're doing. Running seems pretty intuitive, but the more I research, the more I learn, the more I realize that there are so many mistakes that are easy to fall into if you aren't aware of them. So if you have a new runner in your family or in your friend group and you find this video to be of value, consider sending it to them. Stick around to the end for the tip that I think is the most important, as well as a bonus tip. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
All right, the first tip I have is to go and get fitted for a pair of running shoes at an actual running store that has gait analysis, either technology or people who know what they're looking for when they're looking at finding shoes for somebody. This is so important because when you are first starting out running, you might think a pair of shoes is a pair of shoes, but it can actually make a very big difference. You might end up running for a while in just your normal shoes and be ending up with blisters, feet injuries, ankle injuries, knee pain, hip pain, and it can all stem literally from shoes that are not quite fitting you right. So for instance, my first ever pair of shoes that I got a proper gait analysis done, I still have them. They are very worn out now, but they are these pair of Brooks Launch GTS shoes, and they have what's called a guide rail system, and that was to help my foot not pronate. And I didn't know that I needed something like that, but when the guy who was working there, when he watched me run, he recognized that one of my feet pronated, and then he recommended the guide rail system within that shoe, and so I bought it. When I moved to Saskatchewan, there's 2 stores that I'm aware of in Saskatoon that really do that well, and that's the Running Room and Brain Sport. And I went to Brain Sport, and they looked at my gait and they asked me what am I training for, how many miles a week am I doing, and from that I ended up with this pair of Hoka Bondi 8 shoes. That being said, this doesn't mean that every pair of shoes that you own needs to be from a specific running store. My trail running shoes, I found a pair of trail shoes that I liked. I bought them, took them out, loved them ever since. That is the Saucony Excursion TR14s. They served me well in my ultramarathon, and I liked them so much that I bought the exact same shoe in just one size bigger for my backyard ultra. I'm not super experienced in all these things, but what I would recommend, if you're going to be doing a lot of road running specifically, go to a running store like that. So that is my tip number 1 and my recommendation for a new runner.
My next tip, start slow, build slow. It's easy as a beginner to want to go out there and think you need to run as fast as you can every time to improve. But the fact of the matter is that this is just a good way to injure yourself. If you want to be able to go out there day after day, do it again and again, then you need to start slow. Improvement is going to come from running slowly, from running at a pace that you can sustain for a long enough time to get miles on the feet, to work your heart, and to do it in a way that isn't going to cause injury. So start at a pace that feels easy. They say conversational pace is a good way to consider it. But if you start at that and you work at that every run, eventually that conversational pace gets faster and faster because you're able to do more at a faster pace, and everything just improves. And it's one of the most encouraging things to be able to go out there time after time and to be consistent with your running, and from that see the improvement. But that doesn't come if you're injured. Also, if every single run is extremely difficult, then it's going to be hard to want to do it. It's going to be hard to want to get out there, to put in that time, to put in those miles. Whereas if you know that, yeah, it might take a little longer, but it's going to be an easy run, you're going to be able to relax into it and just enjoy it without working really that hard, it's a lot easier to get out there and do it. So take the ego out of the equation and run slower so that over time you can run faster and you can run longer.
My next tip is to take recovery seriously. When I first started, I would go for a run. That was it. That is such a mistake. Recovery is so important to keep you injury free to keep you able to do what you want to do, which is run. Make sure you're warming up properly. Do stretches, do mobility work. Make sure that your body is cooling down and is stretching out, lengthening out, so that you aren't tensing up immediately after. A lot of people like to come back from run and plop down on the couch, call it a day. That's a mistake. Recovery goes beyond just stretching though. It also includes nutrition, making sure that what you're eating is going to be fueling your run and fueling the recovery. So understanding food, understanding nutrition, and then sleep. Sleep is your body's chance to heal itself, to refresh itself, to make sure that you're ready to do what you want to do the next day. So if you're constantly getting 4 or 5 hours of low quality sleep, it's not beneficial for you. You need to be making sure you're getting good quality sleep if you're able, and that you're getting enough of it for your body to restore itself. Take care of yourself so that you're able to come back to running in a way that is best for your body and is going to give you the best runs that you can have, so that you want to do it more and more. My next tip is to learn from others. We live in a time where there's so much information available and it is so easy to access. Whether that's podcasts, books, YouTube videos, blogs, all of these things are out there. And in the running community, there is so much material for free, especially with YouTube. That is where I get so much information. There are so many channels that are high quality. The channels that I watch lots, I'll put on the screen for you guys. But it's important to learn from people who have lots of experience in this. But it doesn't have to just be online. Go find a running group in your town, in your city, wherever you are. Finding a running group that meets, and if that's something you're interested in and have access to, and join up and spend time, meet some people, meet the community, find local or go online and just start learning. And finally, and what I think is most important, is be consistent with your running. Consistency is the only thing that is going to bring about improvement. It's not always easy to want to go for a run. You're not going to want to go for a run every time that you have a run on your training block. One of the things that I have found though that makes it easier to want to go for a run is tracking your workouts. By tracking your workouts, you can see improvement over time, and seeing that improvement encourages you and lets you know that there is actually changes being made. That's so important when you, especially as a beginner, when you see that improvement over time. There's all sorts of apps, I'm sure, to track your workouts, to keep track of everything like that. I know a lot of people are big on Strava. I personally don't know a lot about any of that stuff. What I actually use is good old pen and paper. I come back from my workout and I write down what day it is. I write down how far I ran. I write down how long it took, my pace, and my heart rate. And from that, I could see where I'm improving. So consistency, I think, is the most important thing, especially if you're a new runner, if you're wanting to improve, if you're wanting to see that improvement and you're wanting to do this a long time. Writing it down, being consistent, that is how you're going to get better. And a bonus tip that I promise you guys, keep it fun. Enjoy running. Do things that will make it fun. Run races that are just knockoffs. Don't put so much pressure on yourself all the time. Just have fun with it, okay? That is one of the most important things. If you want to see an example of me doing exactly that, running a race, just having fun, not putting that pressure on myself, check this one out right here. And if you want to see an example of my first week of training coming back from injury and really the start of this whole journey, if you want to see distances I ran, times I ran, paces I ran, check out this video right here. And I will see you in the next one.